My step is the 10th step, which AA or the 12 steps call daily inventory. Y'all called it maintenance. I think I like how you name that. And I'm going to call it perseverance because I like alliteration. And we're going to start, that's the topic is perseverance. And then I'm going to give you five uh, P words to help you remember. Is certainly not an exhaustive list of what you need to be doing or what we all need to be doing for maintenance in our daily lives. But I'm going to just tell you the five words and then we'll go back through that because I probably will be too wordy and run out of time. So the first thing we'll talk about is being principled. The second thing we'll talk about is a program. The third will be proactive, being proactive. The fourth is being protective. And the fifth is being present. So I'm sure none of those things surprise y'all, as you all are probably working very hard to do all those things. But first, let's talk about, and I'm going to read what I wrote. So it's just forgive me for reading it out loud, and then I'll hash it out and interrupt myself. But principled means I have a solid set of core values and I'm able to live by them. Off script, the way I talk about this in therapy is there's many times that we have, and this is Richard Rohr's work, ROHR, is we have scaffolding. And that's legalism. It's good for kids, but as we grow up, what we want is an infrastructure. We don't want to have to rely on the rules and regulations to be okay. That means that we have a solid core value set. We are principled. And I'm able to own when I fall short without using shame as a coping mechanism to justify, isolate, or blame shift. Now, one of the things that we see, and I don't really even need to delineate that we have addiction or not, but one of the things as humans that we love to do is when we feel bad about ourselves, we like to equalize the energy between us and other people by shaming, blame shifting, or by anger. We feel shame, so we're going to get mad at you. And we try to equalize the energy by getting the other person to feel as bad as we feel about ourselves. So, what we're looking for is a solid infrastructure that says, okay, I did lie, cheat, or steal. Those are the three easy core values that you can really go off of for just about anything. And if I do that, I'm able to be strong enough within myself to own that. I call that owning your shit and being able to move on. So I'm able to really look at when I err and come back to that core value set that I have defined. And I would really encourage you to spend some time on what is my core value set. When I say lie, cheat, or steal, where do I do that? What's an easy way that I can compensate for things by using those things? And I'm not saying you're criminal. We all do it on a daily basis. So I'd say let's look at those three things and then maybe do some spokes off of those three words to see where you might need to correct, or then start with a core value set that you can look at the positive too and just say, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to, I'm going to be generous and I'm not going to steal. Those kind of things you can really look at. I'm going to be monogamous to myself or whoever I'm committed to in whatever way. So that's the first one, principled, and I'm already 2 minutes behind, so I'm going to speed it up. Okay, the second thing, program. I'm clear with myself and others what works to keep me in my healthiest self. The things that I would say you probably all know what those are, but just to suggest a few are your meetings that you go to of whatever kind. Therapy, obviously, group therapy. And two big ones that are moving up in the brain-based world of health are diet and exercise. I know that's not anything new to you, but seriously look at anything ultra processed food. If you get rid of that, it cleans your brain up. You can think clearer. You can make better decisions. Same thing with exercise. Many times I see people that have had addiction in their history. They have low dopamine in their brains, or they also have an inability to break down cortisol. So the cortisol just sits in the human part of your brain. high intensity exercise is really, really good for that. So if you're one of these people that you have to make yourself go exercise, but then after you do it, you're like, that's the greatest thing that happened to me. You could potentially have a genetic mutation that you don't clear the cortisol like a lot of people do. So really look at the things you're doing in addition to your meeting with guys, going to therapy, that kind of thing, in the diet and exercise realm. Everybody needs to be taking a good probiotic and omegas. That's all good brain food. All right. The other thing about your program is that you're strong enough in your core value set, go back to number one, to be able to ask other people what blind spots you might have. Because if you're in a partnership with somebody, they probably know of the things you're doing in your program, what makes you feel the sanest to them. You also need to look at yourself in that. If you're highlighting that going to 10 meetings a week is really the way that you're staying sober, and your partner saying it doesn't change how you act, you might look at tweaking that. So in that, you're able to learn to take feedback, understand that you have blind spots, and that really strengthens the infrastructure I'm talking about. Okay, the third thing is being proactive. And I asked a few people in the last couple of weeks that have been in recovery for a long time, and what is meaning being proactive means. And it's really surprising. They love that their spouses ask them about how they're doing in their recovery. The spouses usually are the ones that are scared to ask. And so what it really does is it builds intimacy between two people if you can take the risk and say, what is it that you need to know about how I'm doing in my sobriety? And because somebody might see that you're on your screen a lot more frequently, or your let's just say wife for now. Your wife may go, man, you're on your screen all the time, and she draws a dotted line, or even sometimes a double black line to, oh, he's acting out because he's back doing the behaviors he was doing before he was sober. So it's really good if you can create an environment proactively of saying, when you're feeling scared about how I'm acting, just ask me. I'm happy to tell you what's going on with me. And if you can achieve that, then you're growing that infrastructure that we're looking for. All right. Then the fourth one is to be protective. And that is, I protect myself and others from harmful behaviors that I have the potential to inflict. Most of these are going to be in the anger, rage, silent rage category. We can't be protectors and perpetrators at the same time. And it's very discouraging for the people around us if we act like we're going to be protective and then we become the perpetrators. So just note that protection is very, very important, and you will mess up. So when you do, you want to have the other person have the sense enough of safety to give you the feedback that they feel like you're coming at them in whatever way that is. And you need to define, what does protecting myself look like? And a lot of times that's, as crazy as it sounds, is I need to protect myself from the trauma and the coping mechanisms that I learned to compensate for that trauma. So it goes all the way back to healing the trauma, if that makes sense. None of you guys that are on this call today, I think that's a pretty significant statement I'm making, and I do believe it to be true. None of y'all escaped childhood, adolescence into your probably 25 without trauma, or you wouldn't be using sex as a coping mechanism. Probably saved your life along the way, but not anymore. So be looking at that. Okay, so I'm going to protect people. And the last thing, very important, is being present. I'm going to be present wherever I am. I'm going to practice mindfulness, and I'm going to make sure that I'm actively listening. I'm going to get the feedback from the people I'm talking to make sure that they think that I'm actively listening, that I'm hearing them, and that I'm showing up. So one of the first things that happens when you're acting out is your ability to stay present goes offline. And many times I'll see guys that can't, their spouse may be saying, well, what were you thinking when you did this? And you literally can't either remember or you didn't think of her or think of what you could lose or count the cost. So the best thing to do is 10 minutes of guided meditation and mindfulness. I don't know what y'all, Tom, you can tell everybody what y'all use for apps or whatever, but I love Headspace. It's easy. And many of the companies that you work for have free memberships with it. It's not, and I also like Tara Brach, TaraBrach.com. She does guided meditation, and it's truly very easy to just sit there for 10 minutes. What it is very hard to get your mind to say, go do it, because your mind doesn't want to settle down enough to stay focused. All right. I think I'm out of time.